Okay, good morning. My name is Rob Harrison. I'm the Territory Sales Manager at Autodesk in the UK for the media and entertainment products. Sorry about the slight technical issue. It sounds like the microphone's working now, so we'll crack on with this presentation, which is about 40 minutes. And what we wanted to do is just give you a bit of a kind of background into Autodesk. The company's changed a bit over the years. Some of you that have been familiar with the products for a while, a bit aware of some acquisitions and some changes. So I just wanted to kind of clarify a few things and give you a little bit of background into the company, and then we'll start to look more at the products. And later on this afternoon, Jamie and Graham have got their breakout sessions, where we're going into a lot more detail. So Autodesk as a company really focuses on sort of 5 key areas that follow the industry trends that you see. So building information modelling is used a lot in the architectural, engineering, construction space, for infrastructure and for plant design. And this is really, the concept is about using a single model, a single 3D model to make your design, so that all the information is contained in one 3D model, rather than it being held in different software applications in different formats. Digital prototyping is about really removing the need for physical prototypes, so it's used a lot in product design, automotive design and manufacturing, and this is another big focus area for Autodesk. The middle one there, entertainment creation, that's really where the media and entertainment group, which is where us guys are from, that's what we focus on, and that's typically TV, games, film, and a few other sort of smaller media, rich media areas. The simulation space, it's not really the simulation from a visual perspective, but the actual sort of physics simulation and things like plastic injection modelling, which I know nothing about, but it's a big area of focus, and again that ties nicely into sort of mechanical design and product design. And sustainable design is obviously a bit of a buzz at the moment, and this covers areas such as architecture and buildings, so making buildings more environmentally friendly, but it also covers the green manufacture of goods, so making products and goods and services that we use much more economically friendly, and of course also the green technology, so things like wind farms and sustainable power for the future. So that's really the sort of 5 areas that Autodesk as a business focuses on. To give you an idea of kind of the scale and structure of the company, its headquarters are out in San Rafael in California, sort of worldwide revenues of about $2 billion, and there's around about 7,500 employees at Autodesk. So when we scale it down to the media and entertainment group, the HQ for that part of the business is out in Montreal in Canada, and you can see the revenue there, and so it represents around about 15% of the total Autodesk business. And then when we bring it down to a more local level, we've got our office in Soho, just up the road. This is where the M&E, the EMEA team for media and entertainment is based, at about 30 employees, of which 15 of us are in this office, focused on media and entertainment every day. And really, the reason I wanted to show that to you is that if any of you are based in and around London, we're always available to talk to you more about the products, come and visit you, or you can come and visit us. So it really, whilst it's a very big company out in San Rafael, actually at a local level, there's not too many of us, and we're around to sort of interact both today and any other day. And really, one of the key things about the media and entertainment business is it's a specialist group of people and products. So the areas that we kind of focus on particularly are the film and television space, so it's not just animated features, but it's VFX films, and even standard films now tend to use a lot of VFX behind the scenes. It's TV documentaries, dramas, commercials, and broadcast graphics as well. So that's kind of the sort of TV VFX side, and we have a number of employees in the business based in London that have worked in the industry, in those industries. The next big area that we focus on is video games, and this, as you're probably aware now, it's not just about consoles and PC games and PSP handheld games. Pretty much, many games now are available for the new, iPads, iPhones, other types of, the Android, the word I'm looking for, all other types of handheld devices. So that business is evolving a huge amount And the, you know, the types of content creation that's required for the different platforms, you know, is very diverse. The interesting area with design visualization and simulation is this is where the media entertainment group within Autodesk interacts with the rest of the Autodesk business. It's the one area that serves all of the industries, because it doesn't really matter whether you're designing a building, an interior space, a car or a product. Everyone wants to see visualizations and animations of that work these days. And finally, a kind of newer area that we focus on is the digital advertising and rich media space, where companies are now using much more 3D content on their online advertising and also creating more interactive experiences on their websites, you know, even using games to advertise, you know, their wares. So you may recognise these mugshots. It's my two colleagues here. They're mortified about their pictures, but we've got Jamie pictured on the left there. He's our specialist for 3ds Max Design, Composite, Mudbox, Motion Builder. So he's got a session later on this afternoon where he's going to go into more detail on those products. And Jamie has a background in product design and architectural visualization. And on the right, we've got Graham Bell. Graham's going to focus more on Maya, Softimage, Mudbox and Motion Builder. And Graham has worked in a number of different positions in the video games industry. So just a quick look at the portfolios. We have the Max Entertainment Creation Suite and the Maya Entertainment Creation Suite. They're available in standard and premium versions. So the standard suite includes Motion Builder. Motion Builder is our real-time animation system. It has some great tools for retargeting and reusing animation. So whilst I'm sure you're aware you can do great animations within products like 3ds Max and Maya, Motion Builder gives you an additional level of efficiency and productivity. It's also very good at handling and cleaning up motion capture data. Mudbox is a sculpting application, and it's really used to create high levels of detail on characters and other objects. And Softimage, which is available in the premium suite, is a similar application to Max and Maya, but it has some unique features. It has a facial animation system called Face Robot built in, and it also has the ICE system, which is a node-based creative environment for kind of visual programming. So it kind of very nicely complements the tool sets you find in Max and Maya. So about a month ago, Autodesk announced its most recent updates to its 2012 products. So we're just going to take a bit of time to have a look at these. These are the Advantage packs, as we call them. They're exclusive to subscription customers. And like I say, we made them available via the subscription centre about a month ago. And you can see which ones were released. But before we talk about them, can I just see a show of hands who's using or has used 3ds Max in the room? Well, that's quite a few of you. What about Maya? Also, yeah, quite a lot on Maya and Softimage, and a few Softimage, okay, as well. And what about, how many of you are on subscription at the moment? It's about half of you, okay, that's interesting. And of those half, who's downloaded the subscription Advantage pack in the last 30 days? Maybe a third of you. Okay, interesting, thank you for that. So we're going to look at Max first, and each of the releases had a kind of overarching theme. And this one was really about iterating and refining the look that you get of your design much faster. So what I'm going to do, rather than me kind of ramble on, I'm going to hand over to my more technically astute colleagues, and they're going to just run through the sort of highlight features of the Advantage pack. So over to Jamie to talk about 3ds Max.
So inside the 3ds Max and 3ds Max Design, or part of the Entertainment Creation Suite with Max, you have some key areas that you get with the subscription Advantage pack. In the breakout session, we spent a little bit of time in detail looking at these, but there's the key thing is there's a render pass management system. I don't know if any of you are using render pass management systems at the minute. Let's have a quick show of hands. And do you know why you're probably not using them? It's because they're difficult. Most of the systems out there at the moment are incredibly confusing and quite technical in the use of them. So inside the 3ds Max now, we've got a completely new render pass system that allows you to manage what you're doing to your project when you're doing generally the bottleneck of rendering. So you can look at different materials, different lighting setup, save them all into different kind of groups, and then very quickly turn them off and on, and just really control that whole render process. So if you've never thought about doing render path management before, you've got a completely new system inside of 3ds Max and Max Design 2012 that's in a very node-based editor workflow. So for those of you that are ahead of the curve slightly and you're using the Slate material editor, blank faces, hopefully some of you are, that's good. That node-based way of working is now carried across to the render path management system, and we're going to have a look at that later on in this session. There's also a fantastic Adobe After Effects and Photoshop integration workflow now. And this is a real important workflow system because the Adobe Product Manager, the Visual Effects Manager, has actually publicly said it's the best system out there. So if you're using any of the Adobe products, this whole integration with 3ds Max really is cutting edge, and it's a beautiful little system. So again, we're going to have a look at this in detail later on. And this works very closely with this render path system that I was speaking about just a minute ago. The other thing that we've integrated now is an active shade iRay render engine. If you've used iRay before, you'll know it's a hardware accelerated render engine. So it uses your graphics card with perhaps your CPU if your graphics card isn't quite up to it, and it uses this cutting-edge technology to render your images. Now, iRay is a real-world, light-law, render-based engine. But what we've done now is we've also integrated it with some technology in Max. It's been in there for a while, called Active Shade. This now lets you make changes to your cameras, to your lights, to your materials, whilst iRay is constantly rendering in the floating window inside of 3ds Max. So any changes you make to the camera, any changes you make to materials, positions of objects, are automatically calculated and rendered whilst you're still working inside of 3ds Max. This is a massive, massive performance enhancing feature. So if you're using iRay, which really hope you are, it's a fantastic render engine, then I'd certainly recommend you have a look at the Active Shade elements of this as part of the subscription Vantage pack. Now for those of you that are also doing extensions to 3ds Max via the software development kit, there's now a .NET exposure system as well as part of this. So if you're really techie, and I'm certainly not, but if you're really techie from a scripting point of view, or mechanically what 3ds Max can do, then there's .NET exposure. And if you've never seen .NET exposure before, then one website I'd recommend on the 3ds Max site is one called lonerobot.com. Beautiful site full of some really great examples of just how powerful .NET is. So just to kind of finish off my short little segment before I hand you over to Graham, I just wanted to highlight this quote from the Adobe Senior Product Manager on the Visual Effects side. And there's one real key area for me, but he absolutely highlights the fact that the After Effects workflow we're going to look at in a minute really is one of the best examples out there on the market. So if you're working with Photoshop, if you're working with After Effects, then I strongly recommend you get this subscription pack, purely for this dynamic link between the two applications that allows you to pass data forwards and backwards. It's a really fantastic workflow. So on that note, just my kind of quick intro before we look at 3ds Max later on, I'm going to hand you over to Graham, who's going to take you through the rest of the products.
Yes. Oh, it is working. Okay, so I will now look at just mine. Okay, so in my really, some of the features we had were kind of short and sweet, really, and the main focus of the Advantage packs from my point of view is to really kind of add some small things that we're working on that perhaps we couldn't get into the main release, and also to build upon that into next year's release as well. So we're constantly adding stuff to the product, but we always want to make sure that stuff actually works. So part of the focus was really to help manage the increasing scene complexity. So this is an ongoing initiative within Autodesk on all our products, not just Maya. So the three main features of the Advantage pack for Maya was the Olympic point caching, bullet physics as well, and also the new node editor. So I'll just talk about Olympics very quickly. So if you're not familiar with Olympic, it's a new point caching format which has been developed by ILM and Sony Imageworks. And the focus was basically to come up with a kind of common format for basically caching objects, really. So it's very hard to get often many of the companies and studios out there to agree upon a particular format which they're all going to be using. So it was announced last year at SIGGRAPH, and in that 12 months since then, they've rewritten all the code. It's now at version 1.0, and now it's now ready to be rolled out. It's open source. You can go to, I think, Olympic.com, and you can download all the SDK. There's lots of examples there, but it's incredibly fast as well. I mean, there's lots of really good advantages for it. ILM and Sony are both using it in their productions as well. And what's been really exciting is the fact that not only software providers like us have adopted it, but also guys like SideFX and also Foundry, also adopting it as well. And even though they're our competitors, we have to respect the fact that many of our customers like yourselves are using those software solutions from those providers as well. So, and also people are taking data in and out of various softwares as well. So having that common cross-platform compatibility is quite a big thing. So at the moment it supports most of the objects, but I'm hoping that going forward we'll get more things like particle systems and simulations and all that kind of really complex data as well. We've only put it in my at the moment, but of course we're looking at incorporating it into the other products as well. I did actually have some stats, I have to write them down because I can never remember them, but there's a video online. It basically said that ILM said that when they looked at the there was one shot from the Smurfs, which basically was, the full shot was 87 gigs of data, scene size. Now, that took 97 minutes to render, that's pretty big. Using Olympic, it went down to just 173 megabytes and it rendered in 3.5 minutes. Now, that's a pretty impressive time saving. And on Rango, their amazing feature, no OBJ format object, uncompressed, 8 gigabytes, that went down to basically 73 meg. And on Transformers 3, they were able to reduce their scene size and complexity by 98%. So massive, massive time savings. So it's definitely something that I think is going to grow forward in the future. More people like us and our competitors, and also Sony and ILM will kind of build upon that as well. So onto Bullet now that's another open source Dynamics framework that's been around for quite a while. It's in the other packages as well. So again, we've had a lot of requests to add that into Maya, and that's what we've done as well. We've also added it to SoftImage. So again, you can download the framework for that as well and add your own plugins. And there's quite a few third-party plugins out there which are also using Bullet as well. And the node editor, as Jamie said, like the actual slate editor in Max and also the render tree in SoftImage, we wanted to do a node editor in Maya for quite some time, and we never could quite get it right. So this would have gone into 2012 for the main release earlier on this year, but it wasn't done. So we made the decision that, we're not going to put it in, it's not finished. This wait until we can polish it over 6 months or so, and it went into the subs drop. So you only get it to your subscription customer. And of course, we're going to be building upon that as well. These are all kind of initiatives to kind of build the product further and help people manage the different complexities of their scenes. So for SoftImage, really, the focus has really been on building the practical new production tools, and also fixing things in the package which you guys can't fix yourself, and kind of solving actual production issues as well. So we added sort of new modelling tools and new selection tools, which you could think, well, modelling is not really that important, and some of the features we added were like, well, that's been in Max since year zero. But from a SoftImage user point of view, it's quite important. And also, more importantly, all the features we added in those two sections were built upon ICE, the interactive creative environment. So that's our kind of node-based visual programming system. It's multi-threaded, hyper-threaded, multi-core. So all the modelling tools now, or the tools that we added, have been built upon that framework. So that enables you not only to use those tools and benefit from ICE, but they can also build upon them as well. And the selection tools as well, they're quite simple things. That just enhances the interop and the compatibility with suites. So if you're jumping between different packages, we're selecting objects and polygons in the same way that say Max does or Maya does. And these small things like that just basically helps people kind of like go to another package and kind of get the extra work they want to get done. Physics as well. So Bullet is now the default rigid body system inside SoftImage. And of course, we've added a lot more animations, scene management enhancements, again, kind of a bit like the my message as well, just basically solving data complexity issues as well. So, you know, it's always something we hear back from a great deal of customers, because data, the size of data now and the complexity of scenes is just going up so much. And of course, that's all being built upon ice as well. We try to put as much ice in the software knowledge as possible. And so Mudbox. So Mudbox really, you know, of course, yes, you know, ZBrush, you're going to be using that as well, and 3D Code out there, and Mari as well. But, you know, people know it always for, you know, it's painting and it's sculpting, and we're continuing to build upon this as well. And I'm starting to really enjoy Mudbox now. Each version that comes out, we're adding more and more tools, and it's one of the most exciting packages I'm starting to use. So the first thing is we introduced this Gigatextual Engine, which is a fantastic marketing phrase there. I have no idea what it means, but what it does mean is it enables us now to handle really large, complex data sets. So we can handle 8K textures, 12K textures, 16K textures, multiple textures as well. You know, and paint directly on the model, directly in the viewport, and you know, if you've got a really nice machine underneath the software, then you're going to be trying to get the most out of that hardware as well. You know, so it's really powerful. There's some really nice videos on the web that show just how powerful it actually is as well. So edge hardness increasing the smoothing groups. It's a little thing as well, you know, really little thing. So you're modelling in Max, you're doing really kind of really nice stuff with smoothing groups. You're modelling in Maya, you're adding creased edges and soft edges. You take them into Mudbox and you lose all that data. Well, now in the substrate, it's all there. So you can actually control your edges now. You've got more control over your smoothing groups, and so that saves all the kind of losing that data when you actually start subdividing your model. So small thing, but quite a big thing to many of our users. So we're doing a lot more working bump maps and vector displacement maps and normal maps now. And normal maps you can paint directly in the viewport. You know, you can actually paint a normal map directly on the model, so you can actually see it on target in the viewport and make those type of creative decisions as well. And enhanced tiling, the games guys, you know, still using tiling textures. We've got some really great tools there for creating not only tileable paint textures, but also tileable bump maps, tileable sculpting as well. You know, it's a simple little thing, but it's really, really cool. So you can do tileable bump maps, tileable vector displacement maps, you know, and you can extract all that really, really easy. And of course, simple things like duplicating and flipping objects, you know, little tiny things like that. But again, it'll just add to the enhancement of the tool set, and then we're building on this all the time. And bear in mind that these substrops are only kind of like a mid-year release. So of course, we'll be building upon these going into next year as well. And so I will pass back to Rob now to talk about for the actual entertainment creation suite. So that's just a quick highlight of some of the kind of bullet points of what we've added in the main product. So Jamie and I will be going through a lot of those individual parts as part of our individual sessions a bit later. So
thanks, Graham, and thanks, Jamie.
I thought it would be useful to have the guys that, you know, use the tools every day actually giving you a really, you know, in-depth explanation of the new features that are in those products. So, as you noticed earlier, we're promoting and selling now creation suites, both at an education level and a commercial level, and all of these Advantage packs are available to, you know, on the individual point products within the Advantage packs themselves. So there isn't a suite Advantage pack; you just have access to each of the product Advantage packs that sit within that suite. And as I think I mentioned at the beginning, this is exclusive to subscription customers. What does happen sometime next year when we do roll these features into the next full release of the product, but for the next period of time, they are an exclusive benefit to subscription customers, and the only way that you can get hold of these Advantage packs is via the subscription centre itself. There's no kind of boxes available to purchase or upgrades or anything like that. So just while we're on these subjects of subscription, I thought I'd mention a couple of the other benefits that you get. And one particular one is the home use license. So, you know, this allows artists to go away from their place of work, install another copy of the software legally, and use it to learn some of the new features and you know, really get up to speed in their own time. And another big benefit that we see a lot in certainly in film and games is the use of previous versions. Quite often, if you're working on an 18-month or 2-year project, you know, the pipeline is fixed down to a particular version, and whilst Autodesk has released subsequent versions, you know, it's important for those customers who are on subscription to have access to the previous version. So you get access to the current version and up to 3 versions back.
And then there's a couple of other things there, single serial numbers for easier contract management, e-learning modules, and the ability from a financial perspective, if you want to, is to sign into a multi-year contract. So just a quick slide, and hopefully you noticed the theme with all of the subscription advantage packs. It was one around performance, and particularly GPU performance. So these graphs show the increases in performance for CPUs versus GPUs since 2001, and you can clearly see where the growth has been. So Autodesk has recognised that and has put a lot of effort into optimising and using the power of the new sort of generation of GPUs. So on to the more detailed stuff this afternoon. Which way round? Who's breakout one? Both. Okay, so both in breakout room 1. So Graham's going to do his Maya Soft Image Mudbox Motion Builder at 2 o'clock, and then Jamie's on at 2:50, showing the Max Entertainment Creation Suite, which also includes Mudbox and Motion Builder. So we're going to do some Q&A, but what we're going to do is we're going to let Jamie do his, he's got a 10-minute presentation just to show you one of the features inside 3ds Max. I think it's the Adobe Interop, and then we might have time for a few questions after that. Failing that, what we'll do is we'll hold some questions in the breakout rooms later on, but also feel free to come up to any of us during the day and ask us questions and have a chat. So back over to Jamie.
Right, okay, so what we're going to do is just have a quick look at the interop that we have with regards to 3ds Max and After Effects. Bear in mind, this works pretty much in the same way with Photoshop as well. Now, we're going to use this character that came from a company in Sweden called North Kingdom. Beautiful little project. It's an online website where you basically just play a game online. Incredibly addictive. Now, under the rendering tab, you have an option called State Sets. So let's just fire that up. And this is what it looks like. So State Sets is our render pass management system. And it's a very simple little workflow. All we need to do is go through and start deciding what we want to put into this file, what's most important to us, whether it's material changes, lighting changes, objects that are moved in different positions, or complete different camera positions. So all we need to do is just go in, add a new name, we give it a name itself, so let's call it, let's select the fella, and let's call it Chester, as that's the name of our little lion tiger. And over here, under my render system, under render elements, I've already got some elements put into that file. So I've got the obvious ones like object ID, Z depth, and alpha channels. Hopefully all the terminology that's pretty familiar to you. Now what I need to do to enable this system is just quickly go in and hit the big button, the big red button, that basically says anything I do now will pretty much be recorded and put into this state set file. So what I'm able to do is come in and say, well, I don't really care perhaps about the alpha channel for this case, so I'll turn that off. Maybe I'll go in, let's go for the size of the file itself, and at the minute we're doing the 1920 res, let's maybe change that resolution down to say 1900, for instance. Everything I'm doing with regards to file names, file image sizes, render elements, materials, all of this data is saved directly into this pass, this state set system over here, until I tell it to stop recording. So I can completely split up my files. Now what's really good about this particular way of working is I also have a compositing view, if I just fire this up, that allows me, let's just maximise this so we can see it okay on the projector, that uses the same workflow that you're used to with Slate Material Editor inside of 3ds Max. Now the nice thing about this is all of these render elements are saved out to individual layers, and I can reorder them as you would expect. But all of this reordering I'm doing will be carried across to the Adobe product that I send it to. So in this case, Adobe After Effects. I'm able to go in there, you can see by expanding, clicking on the plus minus icons, it allows me to go in there and completely change all the blending modes in exactly the same terminology that we're used to with Adobe After Effects or Photoshop. Change the opacities and so on. So that's a really nice, powerful workflow. The other thing that I'm able to do is go into my compositor link system down here and choose if I want to send my 3ds Max camera directly to After Effects. if I might want to send some 3D plane data or box data straight over to After Effects as well, because perhaps the logo hasn't been designed yet, but I know roughly what size it's going to be, and any changes I make in After Effects will automatically be respected back inside of 3ds Max as well, if I move that object's position. So at the moment, we've got all these kind of set up. The next thing I need to do is right-click and choose what I need to do. So in this case, I need to render off that footage. I haven't done any rendering yet. So I'm just going to render off those selected states. I'm just going to quickly overwrite those files. And I'm, in this case, using my Quicksilver hardware renderer. So this is using my graphics card to produce the image for me. And it's making a 1920 or 1900, as I change that size, resolution image in just a matter of a couple of seconds. So this is where the Quicksilver renderer really helps from a workflow point of view, to allow you to bake in all the ambient occlusion, all the indirect lighting, depth of field, all these types of effects with absolute ease. Now whilst this is busy, let's just chugging away. Let's just quickly jump back into my scene states. And down here, this is where we set up the link with Adobe After Effects. So all we need to do is just go through, hit the big Create Link button. We normally make buttons big for a reason. So if you see any big buttons, hit them and see what they do. That's my general rule inside of 3ds Max. We make them big for a reason. So let's go in, let's call this Chester, and it will make this SOF file format, state output file. So save, that link is set up. Now, the nice thing is, if I just minimise this down, let's jump over to After Effects. With the subscription Advantage pack, you also get a couple of extra kind of plugins, DLLs, so you drop straight into After Effects folder. And from there, once they're in, under File, you've got a compositor link system. This enables me to come in, go through, grab that Chester SOF file, pull it in, and now that data is automatically pulled across directly to After Effects. With all the layer orders, with all the conventions, everything I've done inside of 3ds Max is automatically pushed straight into After Effects. Now that's pretty good, but we go one step further in a minute. So with this particular workflow, you don't have to have After Effects on the same machine that you're using 3ds Max with. It can be over a network. This is just a text-based XML description of the data that you can put anywhere you want to. So with your 3ds Max artists, they can busy, carry on doing all the work inside of 3ds Max, then your After Effects artist can be in a completely different location, but still plug and grab that file. So this is where the kind of workflow really is incredibly, incredibly powerful. So hopefully you agree, it's a very slick workflow. I've only got a few minutes, to show you kind of the basics, but as you can see, it just works. And that's kind of what you would want. So I think from there, we're now going to do a bit of Q&A. I saw you had your hand up, so I promise we'll come back to you. So,
hello? There we go. Okay, this one's working. Is it? Hello, yeah. So, questions? There's someone down. You go.
Just a quick question. Just to do with what you were setting up there, we use V-Ray and V-Ray elements.
Yeah.
Is there compatibility with that?
It should, so that workflow should work with any render engine. We've tested them out with most of them, and it should work absolutely fine. We've tested out with most versions of After Effects as well, because the latest one I had there was version 5. We've also tested it with 5.5. As you can imagine, Adobe is quite a strategic partner for us, along with people like Chaos Group. So we generally test it out with most of the tools that you're currently using. So it should absolutely be fine. From my point of view, I don't have V-Ray on this machine, so I can't give you a 100% answer, but it should absolutely be fine. We've certainly tested it.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Any more questions? With that works.
Can you use multiple renderers at the same time with it, so you could have scanline passes, V-Ray passes, mental ray passes, things like that in the same scene file?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
And that's, that's where it's really powerful. The ability to kind of break out render engines. Because for some tasks, using scanline to do your Z depth, or to do your object IDs or map selections is far quicker than any of the really powerful render engines out there on the market. You know, scanline is kind of your get out of prison renderer. You just know it's going to work. So the ability to kind of mix render engines, take the best out of those render engines and put them in your pipeline and streamline that pipeline and come back to your project and have all the state sets there, and visually you know exactly what's happening for a project that you did 6 months ago. You know, it really is kind of a very, very powerful workflow.
Hi Jamie. I was really excited to actually try this out when we first saw it, so I downloaded the Advantage pack, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm actually using it the correct way, but we tried, have you managed to output different file formats at the same time? Do you know what I mean? Like if my beauty pass is an EXO file and I want my mats to be, say, TGAs, I can't get that to work.
Yeah, absolutely. It does work in that scenario, so you can have different file formats, because for those of you who will know that OpenEXR is a very, very powerful format along with TGAs, targets, PNG files. So it can be done, but there is just a little workflow that we can have a look at perhaps in a break,
Brilliant.
in the breakout session, because it's just setting up the correct file name structure.
Any more questions? No? Excellent.
If I can just elaborate on one little point, just going back to the V-Ray side, I know, sorry, whenever I say that, Ravi just goes, oh, if he has to.
He doesn't have to,
going back to the V-Ray side of things, it will work with these standard 3ds Max kind of cameras, lights, but in some cases where V-Ray kind of takes the geometry a little bit further with specific V-Ray elements, that's where it won't quite work absolutely perfectly. So just to be kind of clear on that, when they enhances some of the elements of 3ds Max, that's when you might get a few little glitches here and there. But everything you get kind of straight out the box with V-Ray 3ds Max elements will work. Physical cameras, I think most of it will work apart from a couple of elements which I'd have to check. But I know there's 2 little things in the V-Ray cameras that don't quite work for state sets.
So just to add to Autodesk presentation, just very quickly, Jamie, did you do the Jamie Jules things and all your blogging stuff that you do? You did all that. So Jamie does keep track of all these sorts of things, and do email him because he does get back to you. He does get a lot of emails daily, so it may take him a little bit of a while, but he does get back to you and he will try things out for you. And both Jamie and Graham have both got later on sessions in the afternoon, so do go to their sessions and terrorise them as much as possible, in the nicest possible way, of course. So thank you very much, Autodesk.